Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Q&A session where we interview professionals in the mining industry to get an idea of what careers and opportunities are out there. My name is Mario Munoz, and I am the Recruitment and Outreach Coordinator for the Lowell Institute for Mineral Resources. And our guest today is Stefanie Orihuela. Did I pronounce it right?
Orihuela, yeah, almost.
Almost there. Orihuela, who is a principal in non-operated joint ventures for BHP Minerals Americas. She is from Lima, Peru, and graduated in 2018 with a degree in mining engineering from La Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú, where I was lucky enough to actually able to study abroad there for a semester when I was studying mining engineering. In her time with BHP, she's worked as a resource modeling engineer, a midterm planning specialist, long-term planning specialist, asset senior advisor, and of course, her current position, which is a principal in non-operated joint ventures. Stefanie, thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to share a little bit about my career and what I like the most.
Yeah, for sure. So you've had a couple of different positions, but can you kind of give me an overview of what you've been able to do in each of these positions and what you currently do now?
Yeah, for sure. When I started in BHP a few years ago, I started as a resource modeling engineer, and that is more about studying the ore body and to try to figure out what's the best way to mine it. So it's probably the beginning of the whole mining cycle. I work a lot with the exploration team, but also with the geological team. Then I moved to midterm planning. I was a specialist there that I did kind of what's the best way to mine it in a weekly basis. And you had to use some software and go into the mine. And then I moved to long-term planning. So it's a little bit more about what's the future, how this mine looks like in 10 years, 20 years, or even 50 years from now. And what do you have to do now to ensure that you are going to enable that growth. Then I changed to asset senior advisor, which is more about managing the interactions and all the communication with the shareholders. So what's the other owners of the mine? And that was a really, really fun position because I got to see the whole mining business from different perspectives. I mixed it with the marketing aspects, community, so permitting, everything. And now I'm principal in operated joint ventures. It's a little bit similar to that role, but today I'm sitting here in the United States because I see a project cost resolution with Rio Tinto. And I do from here other mines around America. But it's every day for the operating venture is very exciting and has a lot of challenges. You have always to readjust and to restructure your strategies. It depends of the requirements of the asset and always reviewing interesting projects. But as I mentioned, usually I do all using technology, using the computers, using the phone. I think that has worked very well for me. And part of my job is more about planning and building strategies. So I don't really have to be on site today because probably I had already those learnings from my first 10 years of the career.
Wow, so it sounds like a pretty big overview, and you've got a lot of experience in such a short little time.
Yes. I think I was lucky enough to see all the mining process, and today I can use that expert experience to manage these mines as an owner. Like BHP has a lot of mines around the world, but they are not the only owners. We have to share with other big companies. So my main role today is work with all these diverse teams. We review the operational performance of the assets, the growth projects, and also we review that everything is well controlled before we do the investment. When I finished the university, of course, nobody really knows what's the specific area that you want to work or what you are going to like the typical question, like, how do you see yourself in 20 years? And you just finished the university, you don't know. I was really lucky that I got this, I was part of the graduated program in BHP, so that gives you a chance to see different areas of the mine. So the first 2 years, even though I worked with a geologist, I could go around to see the concentrator, to see all the key parts of the mining chain. And then I started to get good contacts with people and start deciding what I really like and where I'm good enough to continue growing as a professional. And that's why probably I knock some doors, I talk with people, I ask the right questions, and then I started to move from this role to the others.
And so, kind of looking back at when you first started, how did you first become interested in this field? Did you always know you wanted to become a mining engineer, or how did you stumble upon it?
No, it's not like I always knew. There were some signs. For example, well, one of the first things is that I grew up in a mining camp. So my mom and my dad both work in the mining industry for several years. My mom is a lawyer. My dad was in charge of the safety part. So normally, and this is funny, when schools organize several visits to the museums, to the zoo, or to national parks, in my case, my school took me to the concentrator plant to see the huge crushers, to see the blasting, to see the mining trucks and explosives. So since then, when I was very little, I started to like it. And I said, okay, I think I want to play with these big toys. And later, when I went to the university, I chose to go to the mining school, but still without knowing exactly what I wanted to do. But I learned there are so many different alternatives where to choose from when you decide to be a mining engineer. You can like driving a huge truck. You can have shifts on the underground mine, or the open pit mine. But also you can decide if you want to look after the permitting side, marketing. There is such a broad range of things that you can do. So when I started working is really when I started to realize what I like it the most. And it's more about projects, it's more about strategy and do all the planning.
So I wanted to hear, maybe if you could share with us a unique experience that you've been a part of, something you've been able to do through this position, through this career, some of the, something that you wouldn't be able to do in another career that you've been able to do.
Yeah, sure. Like, I think when you start to do these internships, when you are in the last year of university, is when you really start to taste the mining world and to try to find what's that thing that you like the most and you really get passionate. So when I started in my first internship, I was more looking after the blasting. So it was a medium-sized gold mine, and I had the opportunity to be in charge of a whole blasting process. So it was kind of like a very, very great experience, like to put the bottom that is going to explode everything. So like you can really feel the power. But then, for example, for the next internship, I did more an underground. So I was able to walk for hours, for days underground, trying to measure the air quality. So I was more about seeing if everything was safe for the people that was working there. But it gets you to get the experience of, I don't know, I've never been in a place so dark you cannot see even your hands. So I think that's what happens when you start to explore the different areas of the mining industry that probably you don't have in other careers or in other industries. That at the end it's very exciting, something that sometimes you just see in the movies. But it's just like the beginning of trying to discover what you really like.
And another aspect that I was kind of interested is, like, obviously the field itself, and this goes for any STEM field, there's less women in the field, right? And obviously that's something that's, being addressed with time. But like, what's it like being a woman in the industry, and also being Latina from Peru and working in the States? What's that like for you? What are those two components like?
So I think there's many women and also men before us that have raised their voice and worked hard to defend our rights. So today I think that I also try to do that as best as I can with a lot of emotion, because I know that the next generation as well, right? The people and the girls that are in the school today are going to be amazing professionals, are going to have a little bit a smoother path to get to be successful, and they're going to create even a better opportunities for the next generation to come. So I think we have to take care of each other. I think we do more today than we used to do before, and this is just increasing, and we are helping us to achieve our full potential. So we are not alone, and that's something powerful that we have today, and probably before was a little bit more difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So kind of acknowledging that, it's not perfect, but also that, if you can contribute to that to make it a little bit better, than you're opening those doors and helping that, the next generation be that much in a better position, and kind of paying it forward, right?
Exactly. I think now it's much more easy to see successful women in really great positions in the industry, not only in the mining. Probably we're still being minority, but I think we are progressing now. One day, in a couple of more generations, we will get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So now that you've been in the industry for some years, I guess where do you see yourself in the future for yourself?
I believe that the learning opportunities never end. I feel sometimes that I'm still kind of that girl that came out from the university and still doesn't know what to do. It's because I keep every time discovering something new. And to be honest, like as I mentioned, the mining industry is huge. It's much bigger than probably you could imagine. So there's so many things to learn from different aspects. From my perspective, I think we can rebrand ourselves several times. So that's what I'm looking. But one of the things that I like the most, and I see myself doing for a long time, is to continue managing big mining projects and finding the most effective way to develop them, but also with this adding value to the different parties. So I talk about communities, to suppliers, to in a way find the best way to also contribute from a social perspective, from an environmental perspective. And I think that's very important when you are a mining engineer. We create an impact, but it doesn't have to be a bad impact. Yeah.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody that's just maybe exploring their options or is interested in the field, but doesn't really know what they want to do? What advice would you have for a student?
Well, I would say, like, the first thing will be trust in your instincts. Like, if you like math, if you like physics, if you like chemistry, I think STEM is for you. Engineering in general, or being it's an incredible path, and it's much broader. Again, it's very broader. It's much broader than we could imagine. So probably it's just also to investigate a little bit more, to see what is this about. Talk with people that you know it's involved. Don't be afraid to make questions, to explore. Now we have internet. You can know everything. You can ask Mr. Google. And it's okay. You might not know since the beginning what area you want to follow, and that's all right. But give yourself the chance to discover it.
Yeah, which is very valid, and I kind of want to know in your own words, what is a mining engineer?
Now, I think mining engineering, it can be so many things, but at the end, the main purpose of all the different areas from the mining industry, the main objective is like we want to create a good impact. We want to continue exploring all these minerals, but in the most sustainable way. Like we want to take care of the planet. We need to take the communities that are around our assets, and we have to improve the quality of life of the people. And usually mining industry is so broad that you can do that. We still need all these products. We need copper, we need gold, we need silver, because in technology and everything that like we can look everywhere, you will find something that came out from a mine. But how we do it in an effective way, and how we respect communities, how we respect the planet and is still doing it, I think that's our work.
I'm sure there's tons of things I would want to ask you, but for now we'll leave it at this. And yeah, again, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, thank you very much again for having me. It was a nice opportunity to share a little bit about me, about what this amazing industry is about. I know whenever you need any other help, I'm open.